Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel. And hello, George Lucas. I just wanted to make a quick video, let y'all know. Definitely will be moving, and my next video won't be here, I'm sure. Sold my condo, and I'll be out as of September 2024. I will be out of here. I will be somewhere else, more than likely either Tennessee or somewhere. Okay, I wanted to go over something. Besides talking about just George, I wanted to go over something that I hear people say that kind of is aggravating, and I don't mean that's just about, my little case here between the thief and what happened in 1974, but I wanted to show you something. See this list? Good. Now see that first one, my parents, I wasn't sure if we lived in Indiana when I was born, or that we had just moved to Market Street. And you're seeing the other side of the page, so reflect, because there's more. This is addresses. There's Riata Drive right there. That's where I was when George Lucas and his cousin got something for me. But here we go. Kirk Road, that's West Palm Beach, Florida. That's where I wrote it on the paper. Okay, and then I went back and we moved to Alfred at my uncle's house. We were right next to the cemetery for a minute, and then me and my younger brother both got put in a foster home. Pleasant Valley Road, Caneyville, Kentucky. You see? Now, you can go on and on and on. I can explain every single address. And now a couple of times I moved in and out of Preston Highway and then back again. And I lived off of Preston with other people because that was a pretty big street. Sometimes there's other people who live close by or right off or nearby. But then look, this is another half a page. Okay. And here, I want to correct something here where I goofed up. Okay. You see Lee Street right there? Now see, when we got out of the foster home, we first went to Pebble Creek Apartments, and we lived with our dad, and then we moved. That was in Fern Valley, on Fern Valley Road. Okay, so then we moved to McCauley, which was another set of apartments with my mother, which were called. Now they were called Deerbrook a while back. Now they were called Livingston Square back then. One of them burned down. We had a lot of moves, like in a short, quick period of time. So we lived McCauley, which is Deerbrook, or Livingston Square. We lived on Lee Street. We lived off Miners Lane, and then we moved to Louisville Avenue. Okay, Lee Street and then Louisville Avenue, and after that, we moved in with my father. That was some apartments called Piccadilly Square, okay? Haynes Trace. That was in 1978, because our bus went down the hill backwards in that snowstorm in 1978. So when we got all that, so I can go over every single one. Then we moved over to the house on Carlamar, which was off Hurstbourne and I forget not Shelbyville Road. Firstborn, over in that area. So all these, most of them are in Kentucky, but until again, get right where I'm at now, see? And now I'm getting ready to move again. So I estimate it's got to be at least 45 places I've lived in my life. So that's privilege, right? Right. Talking about people not being able to get roots. Put to you this way, like I said, 4 high schools in 2 years. Yeah, I went to Moore, Southern, DuPont Manual, and Shawnee in Louisville in 2 years' time. And anyway, doesn't matter. After that, I was out. I went to work. I've been working ever since. So that was 1984. You know, um, I just want to let you know this stuff about privilege is garbage. Okay, it's not about race. It's not about any of those things. It's about people who have money, who want to take advantage of the poor, and they convince you of all these other narratives, and while they're robbing you. Because this is one thing people don't really put together very well, is one, money is not worth anything. I mean, I could print a piece. Of course, they would send me to jail for counterfeiting, but they do it every day. They counterfeit every day. They're creating money with no value. So really, technically, it's the world's biggest counterfeiting loan shark. That's what the Federal Reserve Bank is. It's an illusion. Okay, money has no value. It's your work, your labor, your time, what you create, not what you steal from other people, George. Okay, I think you got a little confusion going on there. And what you're getting, 30 pieces of silver. You know, you compare that to the 1900s. It's worth 1,000 times less. Like really. I think I sit and figured it out. It was less than $1. You know, 30 pieces of silver is less than $1. Really, by that standard. My grandmother was a little kid. You could take a nickel, and you could go buy 50 pounds of flour, 50 pounds of sugar for a nickel. How much is that now? $33 was the cheapest, really good. That was before Bidenomics, though, so it might be more than that now. Put this together. You could buy a car, a brand new car, for $33 at the turn of the century. Now you can't even buy a bag of flour for that. You could buy a brand new car right off the factory. People understand because you keep printing money, okay? And let me explain this to you again. I'm gonna explain this because I explain this to everybody. When you print money, it's not just printing the money. You have to have, okay, let's just say, let's see, let me make an example. I wish I could do, here we go. Let's say you got these 4 pieces of candy, right? 4 pieces of candy. These are cinnamon. Okay, 4 pieces of candy and 4 quarters. Okay, you print a quarter, you make a piece of candy. So you get a piece of candy for a quarter. Same thing again. 4 times. You got 4 pieces of candy, 4 quarters. You sell a piece of candy and somebody gives you a quarter, right? Then you go and print more quarters, but you don't make any more candy. So now that piece of candy costs 2 quarters. So now there's only 4 quarters and 2 pieces of candy. See? So now you're not going to get the same thing. What happens when they produce another round? 1 piece of candy, 4 quarters. All 4 quarters for 1 candy. Think about it. When I was a kid, a candy bar was 25 cents. How much are they now? $2? Most places. For a candy bar, you might be able to get one, depends on where you're at, maybe for $1 or something. So, that's what happens when you keep printing money. And George, like I said, with you, $1 billion, $5 billion wasn't enough for you. Now let me explain something to you about hell, okay? It's not what you think it is. It's, Kind of like having an itch and not being able to scratch it, you know? The desire is there, but there's nothing else. No ability to do anything about it. You know, can you imagine being stuck in that for a billion years? And then figure, you know, I don't think people realize what kind of power God has to create everything out of nothing. And people think you got these idiotic people, atheists, who think, that all this just happened with a big bang. The problem is with that is you got zero, which is nothing, which is something that science and religion both agree that at one time there was nothing. There was a void, okay? Now, atheists say there was no God, so there's another zero. Zero plus zero equals zero. Nothing from nothing equals nothing. There's no in between. You can't just say that all of this just created itself out of nothing. Did everything just create itself out of nothing with nothing to affecting it? Nothing to reaching through and pull everything? You're kidding yourself. You're stupider than anybody to believe that there is no God, because you're literally saying that nothing made everything with nothing helping it, or no way there was nothing else there. How could nothing and nothing make everything? You you are kidding yourself, okay? God is real, okay? I know. I've been dead more than once, okay? I know more than most of you think, and most of you are in for a really rude awakening. And that desire, George, it never goes away. Can you imagine just like living in this black void for endless time, just knowing, and that's all you know is that you know, but then not being able to do anything about it. Nothing. You just know that you're there, I think, and then not knowing what to happen to your kids, not knowing. I don't think I'd want to be in that space. It's like the phantom zone. You're kind of like, but not even be able to see, what else is happening. You're just in this black void. That's what I think the lake of fire is. I think that the lake of fire is a more of a representation of your desire to be, or desire to do something, or be able to reach or feel something, but you got nothing but the knowing that you know that you're there, but you can't do anything about it. That could be, that's pretty good. I mean, it's about where you're going to end up. And just like the whole thing with the money, it's not worth anything. I don't care about your money. That's why I keep telling you, I don't want your money. I don't want your fame and your fortune. But it's still the fact that you lied to a 7-year-old kid, and you told a 7-year-old kid, hey, you give me that thing, you give me Jedi Knights in the Force, and I will make you rich and famous. You said those words, that you would make me rich and famous, and you took Jedi Knights in the Force in return, and you never kept your word. So, it's the fact of the matter. It's the principle. It's not the money. It's not the wealth. I don't care about your wealth. And I really have always thought about that. I don't really, I see these people with these luxury yachts, and I think how hollow and empty your life must be, that you could buy all the things in the world and you'll still never be happy. And that's the point. You'll never find happiness because you looked in the wrong place for it, brother. You stole from a 7-year-old kid. You stole from not just me, Lee Brackett, Edmund Hamilton, and I know you did. Just looking at Star Wars, there's no way you could have made that movie with all of those elements that came out of her and her husband's books. The lightsabers from 1933. They're, 9 more years. They'll be 100 years old, George. Lightsabers will be 100 years old in 9 more years. Think about that. But your movies are only 50 years old right now. Well, no, they'll be 50 in 3 years. But you stole from me 50 years ago, 3 years before Star Wars came out in 1974. Because this is 2024, right? We're doing our math right here, right? Okay. Now, again, I don't really care. The fact of the matter is, me being poor and struggling and all my life, and the fact that, sorry, these are clothes I actually am painting. I was doing some painting and stuff. What did I keep? Oh, it's a chain. I see the chain over there. I'm like, what is on the chain? It's actually the little connector. Um, the thing is you. I can't even, I keep trying to think of something to say to you that it would make you think, but I don't think you do think. I think you have, I don't even know how you got the idea for Star Wars. I think wherever you get your ideas from, they're not your own. And I think you hear people say things and then you think, oh yeah, that's cool. I think I'll do that. And then you steal everything literally from everyone else to put it together. It's like that song by Johnny Cash, the Cadillac. You ever heard that one? His Cadillac, he had this he stole a part from this Cadillac and that Cadillac, and he managed to put it all together, and it was like kind of looked like shit, because it was like 25 different models of Cadillac turned into one. That's the point. It's the point that you stole everything from everyone. I mean, how many things in Star Wars? I'd like to know how many things in that movie that you actually came up with. How many did you actually come up with? Because I don't think there's any. I don't know. The design of the Falcon, even I saw that, Bartini Beriev BB-14, that Russian submarine hunter plane that lands on the water. It looked like a goose, but it was smaller than it looked like the Millennium Falcon. And that's what I think where you got the idea for the design. The name came from Lee Brackett's book, Falcon. Children of the Sun, Lee Brackett. You didn't do anything. You put it all together, and I wonder where did that idea for green screen, who did you swaggle into doing that? I'm just wondering who you conned into doing the green screen, being the first one to do, or were you using blue screen back then? It was either blue or green, whatever ones you were doing. It's funny, it's amazing that you have not an inkling of what's going to happen to you, and then your kids to be drug into it. I mean, are they going to go down too? And you'll never know. That's the funny part, because about being in hell is you only know that you are. You don't know anything outside of hell. You don't know where you're going, where you're at, where your kids are, where anything that is. You don't know anything, and that'll be your existence for the rest of all eternity. So you have to think about that. And the thing is, I think that the money is not the issue. I'd like to have a home. That's all I wanted, was a home. In my life. And for reasons, like I told you, I've lived in 45 places since I was a kid, because I was impoverished as a kid, and for some reason, every time there was a crack in the system, my family found it and we fell for it. And when it came to that, they always say everybody has their 5 minutes. No. I just wrote 3 books and I can't even get them to fly, so there's not even going to be 1 minute on that. And and actually I think they're pretty good, despite, not selling any. But that's because nobody's read them, nobody knows who I am. But who could have changed that? You could have changed that too, huh? Of course, you wouldn't. I know you wouldn't do that. But anyway, I just want to let you all know I'm definitely moving. This will be I'm pretty sure this will be my last video here. I'll be gone by the 17th. Next month, by the 17th, I'll be out. I'll be gone. So, I don't know where I'm going to be. At this point, I don't think anybody does. I have raccoons out there fighting. My dog's getting chopped up. He hears it too. He's like, oh, what's going on, man? You can't see his reflection. He's like right here. Oh, buddy. Anyway, I knew that was coming. Quit. All right. The raccoon's fine. Quit. Anyway, I wanted to make make this to let you know that, it's not your money. I don't really want your money, dude. I like to have a home. It's just too bad that homes, like, I have to have money to have a home, That's just the way it is. That's not it's not the way it should have been. Back, when people came here, you staked a claim, and there wasn't taxes and all that. All that didn't exist. Our country survived on the tariffs for hundreds of years, or over 100 years before 1913. And again, that's what got you, because the corporate greed thing, you kind of like. And the thing is it really it's artificial. It's artificial. It's monopoly money. You can print it up and say it's worth anything. If you can convince people of it, then you can sell it. You see what I mean? But you can't. You can't convince me. The only thing you're going to do to convince me is get out there and tell the damn truth now. Because now you have very little time left on this earth, George. And where you're going to be is not going to be what you think it's going to be. And if they told you something different, they lied to you. Okay? So, good luck in that. And I do know a lot more than you think I know. And that piece of paper, and I know somebody has it, that says the United and the Force on it. You know what I'm talking about, because you know that I know. You know that I know. Somebody has it, and they're not going to destroy it unless they're brain dead, because they have no leverage, right? They'll have no leverage, right? Against who? Who do they not have leverage on if they don't have that piece of paper? You, George, right? When Disney has it, and you were the one who had people watching me, and then they betrayed you and sold you out to the highest bidder, right? Is that what happened? I'm just curious. Sold you out to Disney. That's why you call them light slavers, right after they bought it, because it was a forced sale. Yeah, I laid money on it, but anyway, I don't have any money to lay on it, and I don't want to do that anyway. But I'll tell you something. I know it's true. I know somebody's got it, and I think somebody's using it as leverage against you. And it's really your fault, because you're the one who sent Bob Frederick to my house in 2001 in Bedford, Ohio. And all I was doing was asking you, hey, remember me? I was being nice. I wasn't being rude at first. You kept ignoring me. And then I got mad, and I heard about your car accident with the race thing. I said something about it. I think that you kind of got, you were kind of mad because I kind of said something about, oh, don't you, you thought you got a warning, or that was a warning from God. I said something about it being a warning from God. I think that's what it was, if I remember right. But I didn't keep all of those letters. I know I have a couple of them, and the ones everyone I had, I wasn't really saying nothing rude to you. I was being nice, and you still ignored me, and you didn't keep your word. You know what's even worse than that is Jack almost killing me that same day. Your cousin, I don't, I don't, I still haven't figured out if that was on purpose. I mean, I've seen that movie where people train their kids to kill people and make it look like accidents. And I mean, do y'all really do that? You train your kids to kill people? Was that on purpose that y'all tried to kill me? Because impaling somebody through their skull with a piece of rebar, I guess that would be a pretty good effective method to normally kill someone if they're a normal person, you know. Um, but for whatever reason, it didn't kill me that day. Um, and now we're here, right? Anyway, George, I think you should reconsider telling the truth uh, to the world. I mean, at this point, you have nothing to lose. Because money, it's an illusion. Money's an illusion. Your power is crumbling. All the world's governments are crumbling. You think they're going to be able to pull this out and destroy out when they try to do their great reset? It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. God says when it's the time. God does, not you, not your people. They'll find out the hard way, and you'll find out, and I guarantee you that somebody is going to rat on you. It's going to look 10 times worse. And if they find out that you've been fucking with me all these years, and you could have done something, but you were actually even making it worse instead of even trying to help me, that's really not going to look good on you. You know, especially knowing that I was a 7-year-old kid who pulled a coffee percolator down on himself when he was a kid. Before that, right before that, and I was just like recovering. You know, I was, you know, and that's why I said in some of the videos I said I was handicapped, because it's actually kind of true. I couldn't, at one point, I could not raise my right leg, my knee up parallel. So they put me in dance classes in school and stuff like that. So I was learning to run and all that again, you know. Anyway, George, pretty effective, I guess, you know. Anyway, I think you should reconsider. Your time's running out. You know, I'm not going to live forever either, but your time's running out, buddy. You know, you offered something. You made a deal. You didn't keep your word. That's really fraud. It's violating an oral contract. And the bad thing is you really took advantage because you knew I was a kid and I had very little in the way of witnesses other than my brothers, who are still, I don't know why my brothers don't come out and make videos, because they were both there. My younger brother remembers everything, but never mind. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But he knows. My older brother knows. I think he knows, but he's almost kind of like in denial about it, you know, because he knows I said something night, but he can't say what kind of night. Right? Okay. I wrote it on a piece of paper, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna get my butt off here, and I'll tell you something, George. Think about what you're doing, man, and think about the consequences to you, and think about the consequences to your kids. I mean, who's to say if you go to the double hockey sticks at HE double hockey sticks, if your kids ain't gonna follow? But the bad thing is, you're never gonna know.